Offseason grind, that 305 heat from free agency moves to the draft on the street with a Miami Dolphin pulse, keeping it live. The aqua and orange, the ultimate drive. Let's ride! It's Fins TV, taking it to the next level. Fins TV Xtra, where the fans out rebel, deep analysis, interviews you need, with a home of the Fins, built for speed. It's here.
Welcome to Fins TV Xtra. I'm your host, Fins Sammy, along with my co-host Steve. Welcome to this bonus episode of Fins TV Xtra.
Fins TV Xtra. We are blessing the Fins universe right now with an extra episode of Dolphins coverage here on the one and the only, the best podcast, Fins TV. How are you doing, Sammy?
Absolutely, we're doing good, Steve. A lot happens in just a week, so we have basically a lot to talk about. Who would have thought in just 1 week we have so much to talk about?
Crazy.
This kind of crazy. So on this episode of Fins TV Xtra, my Daniel basically, when you have a meeting with your boss and the boss say come in on Friday, but they say no, you should be here on Wednesday. I need to talk to you. You basically, you're out of here. So my Daniel. Turning with the Dolphins is also going to talk a little bit about that. So also on the show, a new boss in town, the Captain Sully, young Eric Sullivan, the new GM of the Miami Dolphins from the Packers. That was interesting. Correct, amen. Along with Stephen Ross, you can see him in pictures there. Tom Garfunkel, all the bad guys. It's like a Kessler or something, like a villain there or something in that picture. They get a new GM, and we're going to talk a little bit about the coaching. The coaching situation with the Dolphins. Your Harbaugh, is he candidate? Is he not? Is he going to take the interview? Is he not? Are the Dolphins basically being rejected? And we're going to talk about, we'll place a little bit of Dolphins, Fins TV Dolphins carousel. We're going to talk about the candidates for the Dolphins. So, it's a condensed episode. So we're going to straight to it. But let's talk about a little bit about my Mama Daniel, after 4 years with the Dolphins, out of here. He was feeling confident those first days. He was thinking that we were going to stay. He was telling people, friends, and people around the building who really liked him, that he was coming back as a head coach. But like I said before, Stephen Ross said you need to come into there. My perception is that probably those GM interviews did not go well. Stephen Ross really wanted to keep him, but when every single GM kind of says, I prefer to have someone else, I don't think he did a great of a job. That probably will happen because, Stephen Ross changed his mind, even though he even saying in the statement that he loved him. What are your thoughts about, the whole situation? Mike McDaniel tell you with the Dolphins that, we basically getting the boot out of here.
I've been saying for a very long time because I love information. I love facts. I've evolved in my age to say, I want to know the complete information before I make up a knee-jerk judgment call. I don't think that that's unreasonable. So I would love to, my love for the football makes it even more that I would really love to have that inside view to just know. I don't even want to tell anybody. I just want to know personally and selfishly what really went down, because there was a high level of confidence for Mike McDaniel to say, hey, he even said he was going to be involved in the GM process, or somebody reported it. I don't even know. Yes. And then it came out, I think the next day, somebody said, no, he's really not involved, or they gave out a list of different people. Something changed. Something happened. I don't get me wrong. Again, a couple weeks in a row, I'm happy to say I was wrong. I didn't think that earlier in the season that Ross had what it took to fire Greer. Kudos. I said last week I didn't think there was a chance that he was going to have the guts to let him go, that he was going to say, I'm going to hire my GM and let the GM deliver that bad news. Now, it went down a totally different way. I'm not upset about it. Seriously, I'm not upset at all. I mean, we've got lots of different things that we can talk about with it, but, if we can bring in the troops here and have a group discussion.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Without further ado, let's welcome the Fins TV crew of Shari Hallett, Matt Armstrong. Hopefully, Jason Sarney is going to be able to.
Hello.
Good evening,
Hello.
guys.
Hey, we got Fins TV Extra there in the middle for
I
Jason.
like it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Matt, I've really missed hearing your voice this season, so I want to give you an opportunity to opine on Mike McDaniel, how the whole drama and everything played out last week.
Well, first things first, full disclosure, I'm a Mike McDaniel fan. I felt like he had a winning record. Injuries played a great deal of a role in the last few years, really since his first year. I would not have been upset had he been given another year. But one thing that we all know is that there are back channels that have back channels. You have no idea. We don't have any idea. The media doesn't have any idea. There's a ton of speculation out there. And those back channels were probably very, very live when it came to who might be coming available. Um, I said it last week. If Harbaugh is available, you go get him. I use the term a home run hitter. You go get that guy. And I think it was the very next day that the floodgates opened, and I sat there like, wow, I wish I could be that lucky in the casino. But when I say back channels have back channels, I think that there's probably a strong chance that other dominoes that have fallen in the last week were probably well known. Really strong chance of something happening. So when you look at it through that prism, it's easy for me to say the game was in good shape until all of that chatter that happens in the background started really amping up. And once that did, he was done. Um, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few days. That's kind of exciting for me sometimes I'm a little bit more excited about this period of time than I am August through December. When I used to play Madden, which used to be the greatest video game on the planet until it went to hell, my favorite part was finishing the season and doing the GM stuff. That was my favorite part. So this time of the year, listen, I got to say this before I forget it. The game is going to land someplace, whether it's an OC or a head coach, and that dude's going to be successful. So looking forward to these next few days/weeks and seeing what plays out.
It's kind of sad, but for 25 years now, we're at a position where Dolphins fans this offseason, this is the excitement thing for us.
This is the one, right? This is the one right here that we're getting. We just did it 4 years ago, and there was a tremendous amount of excitement. The video of him on the phone, on the plane, FaceTiming to we had so much excitement. We were so amped about who is this guy? I remember Jonathan Keller posting a picture of some young guy, and his hat was like this, and I thought Keller was just having fun. Holy crap, that's the guy that we were going to hire. In hindsight, that was a fun period. I wish it could have gone better, but here we are.
No, definitely, Matt. So, Shari, I want to give you a quick opportunity here. I know we're running a couple minutes behind here. But Mike McDaniel, thoughts on it. It was a whirlwind of what's been going on and how it all played out.
Well, with Ross, it's almost like when you're on a diet and you have this yummy looking dessert and you're like, it's comfortable dessert and you eat it all the time and you're like, you know what, I'm going to stick with that dessert. But then all of a sudden you look over there and realize that dessert's available to me. Wait, maybe I should have had the different dessert. So you're like, you know what? I could have had that and I'm stuck with you. Oh, but I'm not stuck with you. So finally he grew a little bit of a pair and did what had to be done. I think it was late. I think it should have happened earlier in the season. You can have an interim coach. Doesn't mean you have to bring him on. Just ask the interim GM, and I feel bad for him. And I saw his post, and I hope that Kelly has a great, successful career somewhere else. But it was late. It was late coming, in my opinion. So I'm anxious to see all the different choices that we have that we're going to discuss later and the ramifications of what the GM hire is going to have on the possibilities. Yes, we know Harbaugh's out there and we have heard the bottom line is we're going to say a lot of stuff tonight, and most of us, barring maybe our special guest, really don't have a freaking clue. So we're guessing. We're guessing like almost everybody else. And one of us maybe will guess right, and then later we can kudos ourselves and pat ourselves in the back that our guess was correct. But we're all going to be honest and say whatever we're saying is a guess, is a speculation, is a maybe a hope. But unless you guys know something I don't know, none of us have a final name yet. So
I don't think anybody knows. And while there's a big fish out there, and we'll talk in one of our later segments about that big fish, the reality is one team is going to win that chase, and the rest of everybody else is going to be figuring out what they're doing. So I actually give the Dolphins a lot of credit for how they're approaching, seem to be approaching this process of they're not just going out there like we've seen in the past where they go for that one big name. They're chasing Jim Harbaugh while we have a head coach under contract, and that head coach is sitting in his office like, man, that kind of sucks. And they're even watching like the private jet tracker to see where Ross is flying and meeting this guy separately. But no, you mentioned it, Shari, that it was really it seems like it was too late. If you just look up some of the numbers of what Mike McDaniel had here, yes, he had a winning record, but he was 4-17 against teams with winning records, which is the fourth worst in the NFL since 2022. That's not good enough.
no.
Everybody talks about like Chris Greer's record as a GM and as a personnel executive in the Dolphins organization. He was here much, much longer than other teams, than the average of what general managers get an opportunity. You can't produce a playoff win in 4.5 years. Sorry, you're out. Greer was here for a very long time. And then the leadership void really is one of those intangibles that you just can't gauge. You can't say, hey, leadership is down. But there is no doubt from word of players that left the organization, seeing our captain quarterback stand in press conferences and throw his teammates under the bus, the different sniping that happened at the end of the season where you kind of feel like Mike McDaniel's sniping and then Tua's sniping and the different things that was going on, that leadership type situation, it was just, I think those are the types of things that it's time to move on. And again, I will give credit where credit is due. Stephen Ross woke up that morning and is like, you know what? I'm going to be true to my word. I said the status quo wasn't good enough. It's not good enough. We're
And
done.
when that happened, I made the mistake of believing that doesn't happen unless he is pretty damn sure he's getting Harbaugh, because the timing of that was, I'm sorry, that wasn't a coincidence. That was not a coincidence. So the fact that 2 days before it's, hey, he's gonna be involved in the GM search, and I'm gonna be in the building, and I'm gonna be included, and then 2 days later he's gone. Ironically, right after Harbaugh is available, maybe Ross knows something we don't, and it could be that it's a smokescreen out there right now. So
We can hear you right now. So
yep, we
okay.
can hear you, Todd.
You has to wait for us to be on the screen. When you come to the screen, you're going to be able to hear us.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. So anyway, it wasn't a coincidence. So you guys asked me, Steve asked me what I thought the percentage was. My son texted me. I said it was up to 90% Harbaugh. That's when I thought we were getting his GM. We did not get the GM that was going to be coupled with him, Alexander. So I'm not at 90% anymore, but it's a possibility, or I don't believe we get rid of McDaniel that way after what we said. So, but, and Steve, you mentioned it too. There's not just one big fish whose name is out there. And yeah, the other fish comes with, some baggage, but there is another big fish now who is technically available, although we don't know if it's going to be a feasible option, but it does put another name in the possible mix to stir the pot a little bit. And I don't know.
Let me just write down a little note here just because you mentioned it. So I'm not even going to give up what I'm writing down right now. But
Really? You're making secret notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Secret notes.
So the teacher needs to come to your desk and grab the note and make you read it to the class.
Don't you come over here.
For Shari to just walk in there, pick up a piece of paper, and be like, Mike McCarthy.
Oh, God.
Just showing up in the camera. This is trash. Crumples it up and hits me with it.
You are the reason I drink. Didn't you say that last week?
Yes, it is.
I cannot stress enough how important we say it every time. And like you said, Matt, yeah, when we got McDaniel, it was like, wow, it just every time it feels like this is the be all end all. And that's why, because we breathe it and we live it and we love it. We can't keep having misses. At some point, we have to have a hit somewhere. So it can't be. I mean, look at our main pieces. We're all broken apart. You've got a GM that got fired, a coach that got fired. We bring in a new GM, but we've got a quarterback who's maybe not even ever going to play a snap for us again. And if he doesn't, brings a hit. So I mean, we're just a mess, is what it is. Anybody care to chime in? It's a mess, right?
I'm just gonna say, my McDaniel basically, it's not a popular opinion right now, but my McDaniel basically, I like the guy, not necessarily the head coach, because I felt bad for the guy when he was fired, because when he came here, he really wanted to deliver a playoff win for Fins Nation. He tried his best. I was not very confident from the beginning, but I can certainly say I know he tried. He's the guy that he gave his all. He basically did everything he could to bring this team a championship. And for a while, it was working. For a while, it was working. But the 2023 season that had moments where the hopium was very, very high. Yes, Shari?
100% it was working, but when it stopped working, he didn't adjust, and that's where the wheels started to come off, because you can have the formula, and he did, and for a good part of the season, nobody could give the answer, but once they figured it out, it was dead in the water, and there was no adjustment. So
think about that Tennessee game. We lost that Tennessee game, and we never caught any mojo after that. We lost a lot at that time, at that moment. I can hear you, sir.
We can hear you.
Absolutely. Yep. Shari, are you ready for the word?
I am ready for the word.
Let's go to transition, and let's hear Shari and Steve with the word, and let's welcome Special Guest Todd Wright.
John, I started early. A new era begins as the Miami Dolphins officially hand the keys to John Eric Sullivan. Arriving with over 20 years of championship pedigree from the Green Bay Packers, Sullivan takes over a franchise in the midst of a total, and when I say total, I mean complete and utter reset. With a blank page before him, he faces an immediate and daunting to-do list: finding a new head coach, navigating a tight salary cap, and solving the team's high-stakes quarterback conundrum. Good luck. It's a fresh start for Fins fans, but the pressure's on for Sullivan to turn this clean slate into a winning blueprint. And Steve, one of my questions is, what does he tackle first? Everything's broken. You have to fix somewhere. So, I mean, I guess you bring in your coach. That's what you fix. But then the looming problem is Tua. And I mean, he has bitten off a lot, and we're going to see how much he can chew.
Okay, again, I said this a lot. I'm going to say it again, that there are 32 general manager openings in the NFL. You get offered a general manager opening in the NFL, you don't turn it down. So he's done his time. I mean, he was at the Packers since 2002. My man was an intern, and he has worked his way up. That's what you call patience. So what does he do first? Well, you said it's a clean slate. Here's the thing: it's not a clean slate yet. It is like a dry erase board, and you're going to go up there and start like dry erasing, and you're going to realize some fool went up there and wrote on it with Sharpie, and you're going to have to like get scrubbing. So they're going to spend 2026 up there with the magic erasers and whatever they can possibly do to clean that off and really truly get a clean slate. That's my initial opinion of what needs to be tackled first.
And not only that, they talk about the changes he's going to bring, the style that he's going to bring. And it's going to be more centric on a tough NFC type. This is, and again, I'm not telling you what I know, because if I tell you I knew all this stuff about him a week ago, I didn't know anything about him a week ago. I never even heard his name a week ago. But I do a little research, it talks about physicality and toughness, conviction and vision. He wants role players. He wants players who are good within their roles. So, and he wants to build via draft, not go for the high stakes, quick win free agency, bring in the big names. This is what my research says. I don't know what he's thinking. No one knows. He could change it all up when he comes to town and be like, "I'm going to try something new."
Yeah, like I said, this is the cloth that he's cut from. But nobody knows. There's also, you could say you could bring in somebody that is totally against what the Haslams do traditionally in Cleveland, and the second they step into Cleveland, the Haslams take over as owners, and that entire philosophy goes out the door because it's just the same old Cleveland Browns. You really hope you're not going to be that, but what is John Eric Sullivan? How long has it been since we won a playoff game? How many years, Shari?
20-ish?
25.
25.
Yes, 25 years. In
Yeah.
22 seasons, and this is just pulling up some information, 22 seasons, he has been part of a Super Bowl winning franchise, 10 NFC North titles, and 16 playoff appearances.
Yeah.
And I didn't
that's a
even
resume.
take the time to figure out, of those 16 years of playoff appearances, how many of those resulted in what we haven't had in 25 years, which is a playoff win. So you bring in a mindset. It's that mindset. It's also the when you mentioned it yourself, but it's like the North divisions. AFC North, they're punchy in the mouth. They're used to that cold weather. NFC North, I think the same exact thing. But I've looked back. I stepped back from when the Aaron Rodgers drama really kind of hit when he was still a Packer and everything. The Packers were my NFC team, and I envied how they built through the draft. That was who they were, and I observed that, and I'm like, wouldn't it be wonderful if we weren't out there constantly just chasing that big fish in free agency and blowing all this money and making really bad deals? But it's also easy to do that since I was in high school, which is a very long time ago, they've had 3 starting quarterbacks.
Yeah. We can't even discuss what we've had at quarterback in Miami.
We don't have enough time.
There's not enough time. If we went until midnight tonight, we couldn't discuss each quarterback. Going after the big name is fun. We signed Tyreek Hill. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, we have Hill. This is amazing. We spent a fortune. He did amazingly for us. And now he is nowhere to be found. And I know he was injured, so please don't come at me. Don't come for me. But that is the kind of success and growth that doesn't last. It's a short-term fix. It's thrilling in the moment. But you need to build the foundation, and the foundation is where we are lacking because we don't bring in the guys and culture them and groom them together. God, that's a terrible word, not groom. And make them work together to become a team and gel. It's constantly plug somebody into the system, and when it's always just plugging in somebody else instead of gelling all together, I don't know how you ever find success that way. So perhaps Sullivan comes in and really does draft focus and talent evaluation and prudent free agency, not just grabbing the biggest target and the biggest name, but actually having a bigger vision rather than the eye candy in the window and grabbing what's at the checkout because it's exciting and it's right there. I want him to build something from the bottom up. And you're right, the slate's not clean. It's a disaster. The theoretical slate is clean, but in reality, this is just a giant scribble. And Matt, do you have any thoughts about that?
You're on mute, sir.
I don't think the slate is empty at all. I think there's plenty of pieces there. I think there's plenty of ammunition in terms of draft picks. There's plenty of pieces on both sides of the ball that can be built upon. It just needs to be done in a common sense way. I loved the Tyreek Hill move because it was a move that I wasn't used to. And it was a move that none of us were used to. Tyreek Hill is a Hall of Famer. Despite him being a knucklehead, he's an absolute Hall of Famer. And we had the unfortunate luck, if you will, as fans, that his quarterback couldn't stay healthy either. So here's where we are. What was it, 2019 for his first year, and we tore everything down and built from there. 2019 to 2022, 2023 was not that big of a gap. I don't think that we're going to be that far away from being competitive. I'm excited to see what this guy does. One thing that I'm really excited about him is it was a no-brainer if we got the guy from San Diego because that's supposedly Harbaugh's right hand. And then it would have been just a matter of time before everything became official. But I don't know anything about this guy from Green Bay. I know Green they've been one of the teams that we could expect if you look at all 31 teams in the NFL and said these are the teams that are going to be playoff contenders. The Green Bay Packers were going to be one of those 31 teams, and this guy's been a part of that, right? So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. I've seen so many names. My son was telling me about so many different names that are potential candidates. It's exciting to me. I don't think the cupboard is bare. I don't think he has a desert to work with, especially if he has any skill compared to what we've read and heard about. I think we're going in the right direction. And before I forget, one thing that I've always lamented about our processes when we hire a new coach is there's a GM in place who the coach doesn't want to go there because he doesn't want to work with that GM, or we need a new GM, but he's going to have to keep the coach that we had. Finally, we're doing it right. Let the GM pick the coach. They're married, they're tied at the hip, and in 3 years, if it's not working, go with them both. And we'll be right back here on Fins TV Xtra.
That's right. Then we have to do another emergency show.
Yeah.
But I think that is true too. As far as the building, I think obviously I asked kind of tongue in cheek where he starts. Coach is where you start. I mean, that's the bottom line, because you can't address anything else until you address the coach situation. And I know in our next segment, we're going to discuss Harbaugh and we're going to discuss some other options, but this is such a crucial this time and decision. And no matter who is chosen, there is going to be a part of this fan base who loses their shit because they're pissed off.
Oh yeah. Well,
Doesn't matter who. It could be Harbaugh. It could be Tomlin. It could be their grandfather on their mother's side who's been
it could be a clone of Don Shula.
Correct. Which I am going to discuss, not a clone, but a relative of Don Shula in our coaching segment. But it's not going to make everyone happy right now. The goal for me, I don't care if you make everyone happy right now. Make everyone happy at the end of the season and say, look what we've built. Look what because there's always going to be those idiots who aren't happy with anything, but you're going to grab people on the bandwagon as you go when you start having success. So whatever the choice is, it's just, I'm going to have to stay off social media for a while because there's going to be plenty of people with an opinion, with something to say. We don't know. No matter who the choice is, we have no idea how they're going to gel with the GM, how they're going to decide on Tua, how they're going to build with the GM, a team from drafts. We don't know anything until we see it in action.
We don't know anything till we know anything.
Correct. Absolutely, no. 100%.
So I think that the tricky part about it is really you hit the nail on the head. You've got to start with coaching first. But when was the last time we had a full rebuild? I'm talking like coach, GM, writing on the wall of the quarterback, and I say that now, and that would be the one spot that I'm wrong with, in terms of what they end up doing. I don't know the last time we did a full rebuild with the quarterback, with GM and the coach.
Well, Greer was here forever, so it's been forever ago. I mean,
well, he was, but we had different GMs pop in at different times. I don't know. What do we have? We had Ireland,
Jeff Ireland,
Greer, and so I don't know if we did anything. I joke, but I don't joke. I seriously put a vacuum up into the Dolphins headquarters there and just turn it on and suck every single person out of that building, and then just say, hey, we're starting over from scratch. And the personal trainer guy that we constantly see there, get rid of him. He's probably a fantastic guy, I don't know, but you got to go because you're just that status quo. I saw today that somebody was let go. Sammy, you probably have the name off the top of your head. I don't have that off the top of my head, but somebody that was been with the organization, I think, since 2020, 2021, something like that. There was another name.
Marvin Allen?
Yeah, Marvin Allen. So that's another name that you're seeing go out the door, that there's signs that it means a little bit more this time, or that they're taking it a little bit more seriously this time. But I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of frustration when you're looking at the teams in the playoffs this last weekend. How many of those teams, since we did our rebuild, and we kind of went up the hill and peaked a little bit way too early, and they were in the dumps, are already back at the top of the mountain, and they've got those first round buys. They're knocking it out the park. That's frustrating. It's really frustrating to see that. And then the last thing I'll say right now, and I'll give an opportunity for others to talk, is there's going to be a lot of negativity around whatever happens with Tua, the contract that they gave him. Tyreek Hill, the amount of money, regardless, we can let him go, but we're still going to be on the hook for some. A lot of dead money and everything that's going to happen. It's not impossible because Sean Payton proved it's not impossible when he went to Denver and he did what he did when Russell Wilson was there, because that guaranteed money was astronomical, and they've got the first round bye in this year's playoffs. They led the AFC.
I'm going to stop Matt before he even opens his mouth. The salary cap is bullshit. So it's fake money. It's monopoly money that they move around and play with. Tua's hit for us. He has a $54 million guaranteed money next year. If we let him go before June 1st, we take a $99 million cap hit. But if we let him go, and I'm reading, I don't know these numbers off the top of my head. And after June 1st, it spreads the dead cap over 2 years, 67-ish in one and 32 in another. You can trade him before June 1st, and it's $45 million of dead money next year. But there's always money. I mean, Denver proved there's always money. So it's just a matter of what Ross and Sullivan, what
drafting,
they're willing
coaching,
to
and
do.
development. Matt?
Yeah, don't forget the salary cap grows every year. The original salary cap, when there was Plan B free agency, the original salary cap was right around $55 million. Now, think about that for a second.
Right.
And now the salary cap, I don't remember the exact number, but it goes up by double digits. And if double digits is 10%, 10% of $250 million or whatever the cap is a lot of flipping money. So thank you, Shari. You're singing my song. It's always been humorous to me with people who fixate on the money. And I'm not talking about Tyreek and Tua. I'm talking about how could you give $30 million to... Dude, it's not your money, number one. And number two, the salary cap is a myth. So, there's ways to, we'll call it manipulation, right? Pre or post June cuts, trading whatever. Somebody out there will take him. Somebody will. They're not just going to cut him loose. He's not going to be a street free agent. Get rid of him, move on. My grandmother used to say, hold your nose and take your medicine. It's going to taste bad for 10 seconds. And before we know it, the Dolphins this will be a distant memory for them. For this, we'll look back at this episode right here and joke about, remember when? I personally can't wait for the next few weeks to play out.
Oh, absolutely. And we're assuming that Tua even wants to play because he hasn't acted like he wants to play. It could be like Mike Tomlin where they're like, maybe I'm just done. Maybe I'm going to go to TV. But if Sullivan and whichever coach he brings in and Sullivan, if they can make this organization believe in them and in their plan and in the future, how many times do you hear so-and-so restructured their contract to free up cap space? So-and-so restructured their money to free up cap space all the time.
Zach used to do it all the time. I remember in the early 2000s, Zach and Brock Miriam, those guys, they were constantly being asked, and Armando talked about it, Dave Hyde talked about it. They were always talking about, pushing money off into the future, and we'll deal with it down the road, kicking the can down the road, so to speak.
Yep.
And guess what? On the first day of the new year, March 10th, March 13th, whatever it is, every team has to be under the cap. And at no time was Zach ever cut, no time was Jason Taylor ever cut. It's a myth. It'll be fun. It'll be a piece of cake. The best part about this is, and I want to emphasize this, the last time we had a coach that had any kind of pedigree was Flores, because he came from New England, right? And we were, in the whatever world we were in, we were excited about whatever he was going to bring with him, whatever mentality he was going to bring with him, the Patriot way. And that really, let's be honest, it disintegrated, right? He wasn't all that. About his greatest claim to fame was going cover zero and blitzing the hell out of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to the tune of like a 42-3 win several years ago. Now we've got a guy coming in, and I'm going to say it's a winning program, the Packers. How many quarterbacks did you say the Packers have had, Steve?
Sure, he's been there 22 seasons. 16 of them have been playoffs, and I forget what the number was. 12 NFC North championships, something like that. It's some ridiculous number.
Okay. Yeah. So I put more stock in the GM having that pedigree. He's there. He wasn't there as a GM, but you get what I'm saying. He's not a GM. He's been associated with that kind of success, right? So I got no problem with sitting back and letting him pick the guy. Maybe it's his DC that they talked about. Maybe it's somebody who's not even with the Packers, but I have more faith in him than I ever did in Flores. I'm truly excited about this.
Well, go ahead.
I think there's a lot of excitement in it. I think it goes back to what we've been talking about here. We don't know what coach is going to come. We really don't know. We can guess what type of philosophy that Sullivan's going to bring to the team, but we really don't know. It's always a different variable. You can have that mindset, that analysis in a vacuum that says, if we have the same exact record, we have the same exact draft pick as this team, we would have picked this team and we would have had the same results. We don't know because that's in a vacuum of it just doesn't work that way. But we also know that the best talent in the league can be wasted away on opportunities because they didn't have the right GM, they didn't have the right coaching, they didn't have the right coordinators. As much as it pains me to see the New England Patriots doing what they're doing right now, Drake May, I believe, is who he is because of the coordinator that he has calling his offense, but also the Patriots are who they are. It sucks that we can't have Todd Wright on tonight because we're having some technical difficulties again. But he came in this year saying that the Patriots were really being oversold because of Vrabel not being who everybody thought he was. And who knows? Maybe he is fool's gold. Maybe next year they'll figure him out like the league figured out Mike McDaniel. But Drake May and the Patriots are benefiting right now because of the leadership in the front office and the coaching on the sidelines, and that makes a big difference. And I know for a fact that I'm looking forward to something like that materializing over the next 2-3 years in Miami.
So what if we start talking about Harbaugh then? What if we move on and expand this discussion and talk about candidates?
Well, John Harbaugh was a big fish when John Harbaugh was fired. And the Dolphins added the Chargers GM. Something was up, something was fishy, and a lot of people disappointed that basically Harbaugh has interviewed with some teams, had the conversations with the teams that the Dolphins are not mentioned. But I gotta tell you what, I'd rather have that had Stephen Ross drooling over Harbaugh, dying for him to be here. Reports every single day of how everything's going to be Harbaugh, and then nothing happens and Ross fails again. So I'd rather have that, and basically the Dolphins not looking desperate for Harbaugh, than, having every single day, the Harbaugh washing Miami, is he coming here or not. So I'm kind of happy with that. The spectrum of coaches, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Dolphin carousel on that. So the spectrum of coaches, but basically is a long list right now. Patrick Graham was added today. He's the defensive coordinator. If I'm mistaken, I think right now he's in the Raiders. I'm not sure. But the list is long. John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, Robert Saleh, Chris Shula, Matt LaFleur, who, is in watch just because of the fact that some people believe he's going to be fired. Not supposed to be certain. We'll see what happens. Jeff Hafley, Mike McCarthy, and Kevin Shepard for the Lions fired today. So, the list is long. But, the fact that, if John Harbaugh rejects the Dolphins, the Dolphins right now are not a team that are ready for a big head coach. It's like you build. I said the other day, it's like you're building a foundation for a building. If you're building a three-story building, the foundation doesn't need to be that good. But that's what happens. The Dolphins are boom or bust. Let's go for the big one, and we keep patchwork after patchwork, and big and free agents that doesn't work. We had the idea basically picking the DM, building a solid foundation for once. I think it's kind of different. I really like it. What are your thoughts, Steve?
I think that and I know we're talking coaches. I know we're talking Harbaugh. One thing on the entire build of it, Miami has had a problem with trying to go for those big splash names. And if you really think about it, you can have a league-leading contract, meaning a size. You can have the highest-paid quarterback. You can have a highest-paid cornerback. You can have a highest-paid right tackle or wide receiver. You can't have the highest-paid quarterback, the highest-paid wide receiver, and the highest-paid cornerback on your team at the same exact time and expect results to be fantastic. It's just not going to happen. And then when you add that, to the fact that you've got a head coach who's more worried about his fit than his actual football performance, what it seems like, it's just really frustrating. And so I'm not surprised with that. But in terms of Harbaugh, it reminds me of the Kansas City Chiefs at the beginning of the season, listening to sports talk radio, and they're guessing who's going to be the Super Bowl champions next year. And do you pick the Chiefs right now, or do you pick the field? You always pick the field, because that's 31 other teams that have an opportunity to knock them off, and nobody saw the Chiefs season turning out this way. So you always take the field unless it's the NFL. It's parity. Right now, I take the field that there's some other team out there that is going to get John Harbaugh, but I'm not heartbroken over that. Is he very, very attractive? Yes, I think that he's leaving in under a sort of duress type situation where he had a falling out with Lamar Jackson. He couldn't see eye to eye. You've got two egos. In this case, you've got one of the highest paid quarterbacks, two-time league MVP. You've got a high coach, and they're clashing, and they're not seeing eye to eye with styles or whatever it might be. And the organization made its choice, and they said, hey, sorry, John, we're going to see you out the door. We're sticking with our franchise quarterback. I think that he has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove, but he also has a lot of options out there, and he doesn't have to be in a hurry. So I think that, yes, Harbaugh is extremely attractive, but I think if I'm really stepping back and honestly assessing this situation, we are a rebuild, not a reload. And there are some situations out there that are in reload. Maybe you go to the Tennessee Titans right now, who are, they've been sucking for quite a while, and they've got a lot of young talent on that team. I equate them to being one really good draft away from being a new version of like the Detroit Lions when they had back-to-back really good drafts. I don't know.
So,
Matt? Shari,
Matt,
want to go?
ahead.
You want to go, Matt, or you want me to go?
You can go.
So, with Harbaugh, they're saying, oh, well, hasn't spoken to the Dolphins, but the Giants are number one on his list, or so-and-so is number one on his list. Rule number one when you are new car shopping is you don't let them know how much you want the car. So you go in and you act aloof and you don't care. And if let's just say maybe he wants to go to Miami, really, really wants to go to Miami, and I have no idea. He may say, hell no, never. But you're not going to say Miami's my top spot, because you don't give them the negotiating power. You keep the upper hand and you act aloof and you act like you don't care if you ever see that car again. And it drove all right, but the color's not quite right, or the inside was leather and you don't show your hand. So the fact that he isn't saying, I spoke to the Dolphins and the Dolphins are chasing me and I really want to live on South Beach, to me means nothing, because a smart man isn't going to show his hand. So I have no idea if the Dolphins are truly interested. I have no idea if he's truly interested, because the smart money is on not letting it out into the open, because that mucks things up. If he goes somewhere else, like Steve said, then he goes somewhere else. I have way more things to worry about in my life than John Harbaugh is now coaching the Giants. Cool. What I don't want him to do is to go coach the Jets or anybody in my division, because I'd rather not face him twice a year on the opposite sideline. It's bad enough when we play the Ravens. That's always a nightmare. The names that we have available to us, and I know, Steve, you've mentioned this. You don't want a new head coach. You want somebody who's had experience. There's a few names out there who would be brand new that are interesting. And Sammy, maybe tell me, because I'm not sure. We're talking about Harbaugh. when we talk about the other options, that's our carousel. Is that correct? Or should we be throwing out names
No,
right now?
no, you can be throwing race now. We're gonna basically spin the wheel of the carousel later, and you have
Okay.
to basically, talk about whether you will pick that guy or not. And, what do you think about the guy? So you can go talk about whoever you want right now.
Okay. So you mentioned Chris Shula. And Steve, you and I spoke about this in the kitchen. The thought of having a Shula on the sideline as a head coach in Miami I'm talking about it right now, makes me want to cry. That is why I don't think Shula can work in Miami. That is a big load to carry to be a head coach Shula. Now, I'm not saying he can't carry it. Apparently, he is right on the cusp of that, being ready, with the Rams defensive coordinator position, and he's shown, everybody's like, oh my gosh, he is going to be the next big thing, and he's poised. In any other city, on any other team, it is just taking on a head coaching position. In Miami, it is taking on a legacy. And when your name matches that legacy, that is a heavy, heavy load to carry. What are your thoughts? Does that factor into his decision?
Unfortunately, I think it has to. And for the viewers out there who are watching, yes, she is that much of a shark when it comes to car shopping. I seriously, I don't want to talk because I fold like wet paper, and she just goes in there and runs roughshod over every car salesman and like leaves them like with nothing in their pockets. It's fantastic, but I can't do it. And the same car shopping shark can be that emotional when it comes to mentioning Shula. It brings tears to her eyes. So if I just want to like make her cry, just be like, Don Shula. So yes, I think that it's stupid and it really shouldn't be, but I think that is, for a first-time head coaching opportunity, it's like bringing Brian Greasy into Bob Greasy's uniform. It's but even bigger shoes and more and higher stakes.
And we know how that worked out.
Yeah, but I think I just don't think that it's the right thing. But and I'll get into this in a little bit. I want to hear Matt's thoughts on the Harbaugh situation, any the Shula situation. But I am just overly tired of the thought of first-time coaches coming in and doing stuff. But Matt?
Well, we've had two first-time coaches, and the last two coaches, and they're no longer here. Who was the coach before that? I don't even remember.
Which one?
Before who? Before Gase?
Gase, yeah.
Gase?
Who was it before that?
Campbell, Philbin, go back, blah, 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 yeah.
That's all we've had. And going back to Ronstadt, that was his first time being Sperano. That's all we've had. Even, what's his name, Saban was a first-time coach. That's all we've had. Now, I absolutely 100%.
Jimmy Johnson, he was not.
Jimmy Johnson was a first-time NFL coach.
When we?
Not with the Dolphins.
Not with the Dolphins.
Ronstadt was the last one.
Ronstadt, yeah. And Jimmy Johnson is the most overrated head coach in the history of NFL coaches. I digress. I absolutely love the fact that at this moment in time, I completely disagree with Steve. I could care less if it's a first-time coach. If it's a retread of a coach, what's the difference? What's the difference? That guy got fired. Tomlin walked away, and who knows why, but I bet it has something to do with I could get him one-on-one, and was like, hey, man, I'll never say a word. He'd be like, what more could I possibly do? 19 years, never a losing record, a Super Bowl. What more could I possibly do when these yahoos do not appreciate me? I'm out. So new coach, retread coach, I don't care. If it's Harbaugh, there's a retread. He won a Super Bowl in 19 years, falling out with his quarterback. Okay? Tomlin, 19 years, won a Super Bowl. Big difference here, hasn't had a quarterback since what's his name retired, and
Roethlisberger.
And he was still able to put up winning records or at least be in contention for playoff positions. I don't care if it's a new coach. I don't care if it's a retread coach. I like the idea of another shooter on the sideline. The problem with it is in today's media world, that's going to be the focus.
Correct.
Another shooter marching around the sidelines
Exactly.
at Joe Robbie Stadium. And here's the thing, if he doesn't succeed, he's a failure, and the media is going to do everything they can to pound on that. The media doesn't care that Chris Schuler is on the sideline that his grandfather used to patrol. They know that people are going to gravitate to that news and everything that's associated with it. Clicks, right? Advertising. It's always about the advertising. So whether if he's successful, just like his grandfather before him, Chris Schuler is leading the Dolphins into the playoffs, or Chris Schuler was fired today after another so-so season, another awful exit for Schuler in Miami. I can make up the headlines myself. At a personal level, I love Schuler. He's the greatest NFL coach of all time. I think it would be awesome to have another Schuler there. Hey, listen, and I'm going to add this to it. Clearly, you guys know my love for the University of North Carolina. There is no way in hell that I would want Drake May on the Miami Dolphins. No way on this planet. Because of the reasons I just gave about Schuler. There's not a middle ground. There's not a, man, he'll throw it better next time. Man, if only we had been able to scramble for 400 yards. The internet will absolutely crucify him, and that's something that I personally can't take. So I can see your perception, or not perception, I can see your vision of another shooter on the sideline and what a catastrophe that could possibly be. Wrapping my segment up, I don't care. New coach, as long as it's not Wannstedt, as long as it's not Joe Philbin.
A retread of our own. We don't want a repeat of anything we've done before.
If you wanted to be another 38-year-old mega mind who X's and O's with the best of them, let's go.
I'll take the X's and O's. I'll take somebody, Matt, that knows the X's and O's, but I'll also take somebody. I have a high value, much higher value now than I ever did before, and a head coach who is there to be the CEO of the team within the locker room and on the sidelines, and is delegating to the top coordinators, defensive and offensive, that are running their respective teams, their special teams coordinators, and can step in when necessary, but they're not spending the entire game staring at a play sheet like this and they're going over and sitting down and having conversations when crucial things and crucial decisions need to be made. But I will say this, I'll counter myself on the Shula conversation and say if there is even a sliver of a chance that if he was to come to Miami and they would A, rename the Miami Lakes Hotel back to the Shula Hotel, and B, start rebuilding back the Shula steakhouses, I will change my sheet of music and I will be the biggest cheerleader because Shula steakhouses are phenomenal. And I think in the state of Florida, there's only 2 left. I think there's one in Naples, and I think that there's one in Gainesville. Those are the only 2 left. There's not even one left in Miami.
And we still have to go. But I know there's a name that you have. I don't know if you want to share it. I know there's a name that's at the top of your list that isn't Harbaugh.
Yep.
Would you like to share that name with us?
I would go ahead and share that. Kevin Stefanski.
Yes.
I'm all about Kevin Stefanski, and I won't blow my entire load right here on this one conversation, but in case I get him on the coaching carousel conversation. But yes, I am extremely anti-brand new coach because I think that many times you'll see these coaches come in to their next opportunities. There are exceptions. You know, the Dan Campbell, his first head coaching opportunity, but you also got to look at he had Ben Johnson as his offensive coordinator when they really started hitting on all cylinders. He loses Ben Campbell. His offense really fell off this year. He ended up calling plays from the sidelines. There are exceptions to that rule, but I prefer to not have brand new coaches. Kevin Stefanski, my biggest argument, my mic drop moment for this argument with him is he won Coach of the Year 2 times. 2 times with the Cleveland Browns. Seriously, with the Cleveland Browns, and if I remember correctly, he did that with losing teams. Like, he's a Cleveland Browns coach. It's insane to what he was able to do.
So you got participation trophy.
I'll take somebody who can coach the shit out of a team, because then I can't put the blame on him. I put the blame on the Haslams for doing what they've done to that organization and sitting there jerking around and wasting draft picks on Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders and all the rest of the crap, and going out there and dumping $275 million guaranteed on a diddling quarterback who shouldn't be allowed in the NFL anymore and is only just getting calmer right now with every injury that he's had. They're the reason why that team has failed, not Kevin Stefanski. They can't get out of their own way. Hey, it's Cleveland's problem. They let him go. Bring him to Miami. Bring him in a package deal with Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator, who is by far the best defensive coordinator. Him and Fangio are pretty close. I give Schwartz benefit over Fangio because Schwartz just seriously, his defense absolutely wrecked teams. I love his team, his defenses. Bring them as a package deal down to Miami.
Fangio is a fraud.
Oh, I don't disagree. No, but he was cooking. He spent an offseason cooking in the kitchen what he was going to do with his defenses. Dog, he came here and collected a paycheck. That's what he did.
There's a report that the Browns are ready to block that. So, they do anything they can to block anything on the coaching staff to follow him wherever he goes. So that was reported today. So
Schwartz, they're really going to try to block Schwartz.
They're going to try to keep Schwartz, yes.
Well, here's the only way they're going to block Schwartz from being able to that's like a lawsuit type material, seriously, in my opinion.
That's
because Schwartz goes there to team up with a head coach. You don't see defensive coordinators just say, hey, I'm here for this, and the head coach is just interchangeable in those types of situations. The only way that I see that happening is if they say, Schwartz, we're promoting you.
Yeah, but basically it's the same. If the Dolphins basically offer an assistant head coaching job and it's an upward, position, they're gonna block him. But if the Dolphins basically being as a defensive coordinator, same position,
that's some dirty shit. That's
we'll
dirty.
have to wait and see. Let's do something. Let's play some coaching carousel.
Let's get on the carousel. All right, so I got to say this, Sammy.
The carousel, trolling everybody with the current carousel. I thought it was obvious.
I got to say this, that my kids, their taste in clothes in this generation is just something. They would look at his clothes and be like, oh my God, that fit is fire. That is like some hideous ass shit. It looks like he's wearing like a garbage bag or something on the top and bottom. It's horrible. But then again, they also like those rubber Yeezy type shoes, whatever the hell they were. They're like $800 Crocs or something. I don't know.
Oh man, let me do some
horrible outfit.
We're gonna basically play some coaching carousel.
All right, let's do it.
Here because
who goes first?
Some pieces over here, so let's go over here and over here, and we're almost there. And here we are. Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it.
So we're ready for the coaching carousel. Basically, the roulette had a lot of Dolphin candidates for head coach. You have to. How you want to do it, Steve? You pick you spin the roulette, and whenever it fits, you have to say yay or nay and talk about the coach. Is that good?
Yeah, I want whoever's turn it is, it lands on it, yay or nay. Give me a pro and a con, if you can.
Okay. All right, who's going first?
Who's going first?
That's
let's
first.
Go, Matt, and let's go clockwise. So let's spin the wheel for Matt. Are you ready?
Oh, look at you.
Harbaugh.
Big fish in the beginning.
Matt, would you like your Harbaugh, yeah or nay, and what are the pros and the cons? What are your thoughts?
So the pros are what I said a week ago. That's the name. There's a pedigree there. There's so many reasons that make sense. His ties with Ross, his ties between his brother and Stephen Ross. A proven track record in the AFC North, which I can make the argument is the bloodiest in the NFL. We're always in it, always. And they're the only team in the entire NFL. After the Dolphins, the other 30 teams in the NFL, it's the only team that makes me go, we're sitting on our schedule this year. The is he how much of the connection of his success for the last 8 years, 7 years, is then because he had lightning in the bottle with Lamar Jackson and an absolute punisher in Derrick Henry. I don't know. He had that matters. So I probably am 70-30 in terms of the close of it.
Let's spin the wheel. Steve, are you ready?
Let's do it. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Big bucks, big bucks, big bucks.
I know what your con's gonna be.
Okay, all right. So he fits my bill for experienced coach. I think that he's learned a lot of things. I know that there's the John Eric Sullivan, which, by the way, just got to throw this out there. Look, I know you didn't choose your name, but pick John, pick Eric, drop the hyphen, just do one of them, please. Okay? I'll call you Sullivan. I'm not going to call you by both of them. He's got continuity with that. A coach that had success, some failures, been on the edge. A new fresh start gives him an opportunity to do it. So I like LaFleur. I like his personality. I think out of that tree of coaches and everything, I think he's the second most successful to Sean McVay. He's got a lot to prove. The con is because my sister-in-law absolutely loves him, and we would spend Matt LaFleur's entire tenure in Miami doing nothing but talking about, oh my God, that hot guy is on my screen.
Oh, look at him, so handsome.
So for that, I gotta say no.
Yep.
Could have been worse when you chopped my bay. Believe you me. I would love my LaFleur. Green Bay Packers fan why he fired. They're basically crazy. I would
they're not gonna let him go. They're gonna restructure.
Yeah, they'll find a way to. So let's spin the wheel. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be my turn.
You're gonna go, right, Sammy? You said yes.
Right now, he's going.
Good.
Hey.
Clint Kubiak. Interestingly, he was the first one to be interviewed. Only, he's still with the Seahawks, so he cannot interview until after, I think it's
correct,
January 19th. He's coveted. A lot of people want him. He's bounced back. He's bounced back a lot for a lot of teams, so he's kind of interesting. I don't know a lot of him, but you and me in the same page, Steve. I don't want newbies, so it gets me kind of queasy that someone has not been established in one team for so long. It seems kind of familiar, even worse that we know. But yeah, he did a great job with the Seahawks. So from that point of the ball, that looks great. The con for sure is that I don't want the newbies, so I'm gonna pass. Shari, you are next. Spinner. Mike Tomlin basically today was said that he's gonna stay home, but that would have been a huge game. What are your thoughts, Mike Tomlin, Shari?
Mike Tomlin. So it's hard for me because I have despised the Steelers for a lifetime. So for me personally, it's not a face I want to look at just because it reminds me of the Steelers. Let's take my disdain for the Steelers out of it, and the fact that he's likely not going to coach anywhere. He is a proven winner. He is tough as nails. Seriously, for the amount of time he was there and the number of times they won the division or made the postseason, they won a Super Bowl, there's very little real, honest-to-goodness downside to him. So my con's going to be, if the man doesn't want to coach anymore, he shouldn't coach anymore. I don't want you coming to Miami like, oh, all right, well, they offered me enough money, so I'll go. The Miami media will eat him alive. If he thinks it's bad in Pittsburgh, I know Pennsylvania is a tough state, but Miami media will eat him alive, and it will be a nightmare for him. So if the man does not want to coach, I don't want him to be our coach.
So a shout out to Josina Anderson in her reporting. He had said that he was actually looking to move and leave before the season even started because the fans were upset at him for not being able to get over the hump. He's got a lot to prove, but he's also got 2 more years left on a contract that the Steelers own the rights to. So I can see him going to the Fox television set or to a booth somewhere to cover the NFL as a whole for a couple of years before he steps back into it.
And as we discussed, I don't want to, Steve, you and I discussed, we did not discuss it on the podcast. I don't want to give up picks to get a coach. No, thank you. We need those draft picks like we need oxygen. So that's a factor as well.
Absolutely. Correct. It's your turn, Matt. Let's spin the wheel. Mike McCarthy. What are your thoughts on Mike McCarthy, Matt?
Done.
What's that?
What has he done?
Oh, he was
Lately?
the coach of the Packers and then the coach of the Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third time's the charm? I don't know.
Yeah, no. And by the way, I take great offense to you having problems with anybody with a hyphenated name. I just need you to get over that.
Oh, do I really? You're going to tell me that I need to get over somebody hyphenating their name? I'm not going to call him John Eric. I'll call him Sally Michael. I don't give a damn.
Sally Michael.
My name is a hyphen. You protest
Oh my gosh, look at his name. Look at his name.
the eternal brotherhood with me. And you're
Matt Hyphen Armstrong.
Hyphen Armstrong. Okay, the listeners can't see it, but in our
That's
little
awesome.
back alley,
Not in the bottom.
it says
The
Matt
studio.
Hyphen Armstrong.
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
Alright, no whammies.
I'm so glad
no
I didn't
whammies.
get McCarthy because I don't want him either. I was going to have a hard time finding a
No
pro.
whammies. No. Hey, Kevin.
Oh!
There you go.
I've already said everything
It's
I gotta
rigged.
say about this guy. So, he's a proven winner of Coach of the Year. Yeah, maybe he's the bridesmaid. Maybe it's like second best. Maybe it's not a participation trophy because one coach wins it every year. He's proven that he can do it. Here's something else that he's done. He had play calling responsibilities when he was in Cleveland and gave them up to a different coach because he realized that I need to be an on the sidelines general, not involved in calling the offense and everything. If you've been watching Fins TV this season, you know that I put a lot of emphasis on the importance of that. I love that. Seriously, do what you can to bring him here. Even if you can't get Schwartz, you can get another good defensive coordinator, but I want Kevin Stefanski in Miami.
Sammy, you're up.
Sammy, what do you got on him? Good. Glad you got this one.
Actually, I was kind of impressed with the guys. I started to see. Let me see with the Bible because I saw a couple of interviews. I was really impressed. He has head coaching experience in college. His resume with the Packers this season was a lot of what we saw with the Dolphins too, second half blunders. But at least he's a guy with head coaching experience. Something tells me he's the favorite inside the office just because of the familiarity last year with Sully. So we had to wait and see. Let me do some over here, and it's your turn, Shari. Let's
Okie dokie.
Oh boy, 33% chance. What do you got? I don't
Probably
wanna
someone
see
I've never
tears.
heard of.
Brian Flores. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Oh, there you go.
It is rigged. You all know my thoughts. Shula is like a family member. Why are we laughing now?
Because I think Sammy's rigged it. I think it's like a.
I'm not.
I'm kidding.
Steve is not kidding when he tells you Shula is.
You lost you. Hey, you froze. Oh, you froze, and it was a perfect freeze. Wow.
We all went off.
There
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Not
Shula,
lying
my
like Shula
entire
is.
life is a fixture. When I told my kids before he died that when he dies, it's going to be as if I lost a family member, and that's how I feel about the Shula family. Yes, would it be awesome to have a Shula on the sideline if he's successful? But I don't think it's fair to make Chris live under the shadow of such a legacy. And granted, no one's making him; it would be his choice. But that's big shoes to fill, and that would be my concern. And I don't want a distraction all season long.
Anthony Weaver, man, he's been with the Dolphins. Some guys are basically better head coaches than defensive coordinator. We'll have what are thoughts on Anthony Weaver?
They half on board, half off board with him. I'm just going to say that because there were plenty of times this year and last year I wasn't at all impressed with the defensive coordinator only has to worry about a third of the football team. And, we're going to grow and Weaver gets the same treatment as well. That's what you get when you're daily 500, so 500. On the other side of the coin, he's got some pedigree because he came from Baltimore. So I don't know. I don't think he has a shot in hell. I think that as soon as the new coach comes in, Weaver will be gone. I also think that if he were a legitimate head coach candidate, would have been hired by now. His season's been over long enough. So, my 2 cents.
Did I just hear like a rooster? Does somebody have like a notification on their phone that sounds like a rooster?
Oh my god! And
Like,
Steve's con for Anthony Weaver would be the same as his con for LaFleur, only it would be me.
I don't need my wife sitting there like, he's so dreamy.
He's so dreamy.
I don't need that.
Patty Graham, Steve. That was the last reward today. Patty Graham. He was here with the Dolphins, I believe, in 2011.
He was here. Name sounds familiar. He's not moving the needle for me. I mean,
Patrick Graham.
I mean, I know more about Kelvin Shepherd just because of recency than I do Patrick Graham.
I was reading about him with Miami and listening to the time.
Pass. That's my thing. Patrick Graham, pass.
Yeah.
There you go. You get to tell me all about Kelvin Shepherd. Tell me.
Shari, Kelvin Shepherd.
I thought
you're gonna,
Sammy.
Oh, that's dirty.
Two left. I had to.
Okay, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, and I'm not interested whatsoever in having him on our team. He was, let's see, the Dolphins were the first team to interview him for a head coaching position. He will have never been a head coach, and he's a player's coach, which we thought we had a player's coach before, and that didn't work out so well. So I'm going to say pass.
Started coaching in the NFL in 2021. 4 years, and he's already a head coaching candidate. I get being a fast riser, but good God, man.
He's a wunderkind.
Yes, wonder kid. Oh, look at that.
Robert Saleh. Matt, there's an invisible team that basically had a head coach, and now he's one of the candidates for the Dolphins job.
So if the team let me ask you this, Matt, if the team that he coached for really isn't an NFL team, is he really a veteran coach going to a second coaching gig?
Oh my gosh, it's Schrodinger's box.
He took money from a AAA football team because nobody else would hire him. So, I don't think he'll ever be a head coach again.
Really?
Really.
I think he will be. I think he's going to be a head coach this next cycle. If it's not Miami, I think a team will end up hiring him.
He has a relationship. He had a relationship with Sullivan. The Packers hired him as a consultant, offense consultant last year when he was the year he was fired from the Jets. So there's a connection there. You never know. Let's go to the finish. I'm so glad it was supposed to be a short game. Over 430 watching on platforms.
Thank you, everybody.
Please like and subscribe, everybody. We're gonna be back for the Fins TV Awards February 3rd. So we will have everybody. you have to be here, man. You have to join us for the Fins TV Awards. Shari, of course, and Steve, you're gonna be there. Hopefully, everybody, the regular crew comes back tonight for the Fins TV Awards. So it's been was a great season of Fins TV. So I appreciate all everybody watching. Please like and subscribe. We're everywhere. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on X. We're on Twitch. And you believe that, Steve? We're even on Twitch. So
I did
Hey.
not know that.
yes, we're even on Twitch. So,
I'm not on Twitch. Maybe I need to
So-
change that.
Our kids are.
I don't know what the hell a
Absolutely.
Twitch is.
any last word, guys? What are your last words on the cousin church? Everyone, the last week of the basically with the Dolphins. I'm gonna start with Matt, Shari, and Steve last.
What the hell is Twitch?
It's a
We're
platform
old, Matt.
basically
We're
used
very,
for
very
gaming,
old.
but a lot that they do a lot of streaming for the young kids.
It's like
the young
game
kids.
streaming and different stuff for kids.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, I've seen those. Okay, whatever. The big finish here. This is one of, I think for me personally, this window of time here is exactly the same in terms of excitement as the last week of July, the first week of August, every season. There's hope springs eternal. You know, there's nothing but good that's going to come out of perception wise. And I'm very excited about it. We just spent an hour and 17 minutes pros and cons of this guy, that guy. I gave Steve a hard time tonight about Kevin Stefanski. I saw something about his success in Cleveland or lack thereof, and I'll admit I was like very tainted by the idea that he was a Cleveland Browns coach, because that's all I've ever known is they're awful, right? But I saw something like he's actually done really well there. So while I'm giving Steve a hard time,
I deserve it.
those that are listening and watching from afar, I seems like that might be a guy or the guy. But again, this is my favorite part of the year, right up there with the last week of July and the first couple of weeks of August.
Absolutely, Shari. Last thoughts.
Yes, my last thoughts is we won't know till we know, so everybody can just sit tight, grab a drink, and watch the festivities because it's going to be a bumpy ride. And everybody knows that rescue pets have a big place in my heart, so please go to suncoastanimalleague.org. That has 2 L's, suncoastanimalleague.org. They always need donations. They have an Amazon wish list that makes it easy. It'll ship directly to them. They are a wonderful no-kill shelter near us, but anywhere in the world you can help. So please help with the puppies and the kitties because they can always use your help, and I can't wait to see everybody on our awards show.
Absolutely. Steve, any last thoughts on the whole,
Sammy, it's been, I'll say this: it's been a phenomenal season. Every single time we close out or start a season, I'm like, wow, this is better than the last one, and this is definitely the case. I think first of all, it's your production. Second of all, it's the community production that adds to it. Adrian with the different music and the different pieces of everything. The different special guests have been phenomenal this year. It's been a rough year, but I tell you right now, the secret to making this enjoyable, or at least more enjoyable, is just enter the season with zero expectations. I say it, but I actually mean it. I meant it this year. My season was so much more enjoyable because
Absolutely.
I was more bought into the Pick'em League than the Dolphins actually winning.
He was.
Because I didn't have any expectations, and the Dolphins delivered on that, so it was fantastic. But no, in all seriousness, thank you to everybody in the Dolphins community. And then really in a global thing right now, there's a lot of ugly shit going on right now, and it doesn't matter if you're right, left, red, blue, purple, it doesn't matter what you are. You don't know what is going on in somebody's life that makes them do something. You don't know if maybe what they're doing in that moment right now is because something bad happened to them or something unfortunate is going on in their lives. Take a step back, take a breath before you react to somebody. Be kind. It seriously costs absolutely nothing. I've got to do something to take my own advice from time to time, but especially within the Dolphins community, be kind to everybody because really we're all going through the same shit together. So
For sure.
Absolutely. Hopefully the Dolphins find a way to, get this settled quickly because every day that passes, people get more anxious, and negativity is gonna start running if they don't find a way to fight this
Well,
quickly.
and
So
as names get picked off the available list too, the stress level
Oh yeah.
gets higher. So
Oh yeah.
absolutely, Matt, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, we'll see you back for the Fins TV. Shari, great as always. Love you, Steve. Well, and
Sam.
no matter what, win or lose, at least we have each other.
Fins up, y'all.
Up, baby.
We have each other. The city's alive. Palm trees swaying. The heartbeat survives. It's the show we all crave. Miami Dolphins ride the wave. Ride the wave. Ride the wave. Miami perfect.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe.
Supreme. Turn it up loud. Feel the bass in your soul. Miami Dolphins, yeah. We're reaching the goal. We're reaching the
I didn't realize this, but Jake Bailey had a franchise history record